Imagine this. A sleek midnight blue SUV pulls up outside the Crestline Royale Hotel in Portland, Oregon. Tires whisper over the gravel as the evening sky fades into burnt copper and gunmetal gray. Out steps Mariah Brooks, 45, a black woman, whose quiet confidence speaks louder than words. Her style, polished but unfussy, scuffed leather shoes, a navy blazer over an ivory knit, and a weathered tote bag resting on her shoulder. No labels, no assistants. Just the founder of the entire hotel chain, hoping for a calm night before tomorrow's unexpected leadership meeting. She's not looking for attention, just a room key, a bed, and maybe a hot shower. But fate has a different script. Inside, the lobby sparkles in marble and soft brass accents, buzzing with muted conversations and the occasional clink of glass. Mariah approaches the reception desk where Emily Rhodes, 24, a new hire with a messy top knot and peeling pink polish, barely glances up from her monitor. Checking in. Brooks, Mariah. Mariah's voice is relaxed but composed, her lips curved, in a subtle smile. Emily pauses mid-keystroke, eyebrows narrowing. "I'm sorry, miss. We're at full capacity tonight. Only pre-booked guests are being checked in." Her tone is polite but flat, the kind used to wave away people who don't. "Belong." Mariah doesn't flinch. Her smile stays in place. "There's always a suite reserved under my name," she says smoothly, as if she were ordering herbal tea. Emily squints, amused. "Yeah, not tonight." The energy shifts. This isn't just a check-in anymore. It's a standoff. Mariah stays, calm, her tote brushing against her hip as Emily leans back in her chair, suspicion painted across her young features. "No suite, no reservation. Maybe you're at the wrong hotel," Emily suggests, shrugging like she's dealing with someone who's lost. Mariah tilts her head slightly. Her tone remains composed. "This is the Crestline Royale, right? You might want to double-check the signage. My name's on it." Emily lets out a dry laugh. "You're telling me you own this hotel?" Her voice rises just enough to catch attention. Across the room, a couple in matching scarves stops mid-chat. At the bar, a man sipping bourbon glances over, eyebrows lifted. Mariah knows that look. That disbelief. That "is she serious?" stare. She doesn't blink. "Call your supervisor," she says evenly, like she's asking for the weather report. Emily huffs, grabs the receiver. "Okay, but this is weird," she mumbles. Moments later, a man in his late 30s, Tim Holland, emerges quickly from a nearby office, clipboard clutched like a safety blanket. "Good evening, ma'am. Issue with your reservation?" he asks, smiling too tightly for it to be rude. "No issue," Mariah says, her eyes calm and steady. "I'm Mariah Brooks. I own this hotel." Tim freezes, momentarily thrown off as murmurs spread like ripples through the lobby. He straightens his collar, a nervous tick flickering across his face while Mariah's words still linger in the air. "You're the owner?" he stammers, his glance darting toward Emily, who now bites her lip, unsure of what to believe. The low buzz of conversation dulls as two security guards quietly appear. One near the main entrance, the other beside. The coffee bar. They say nothing, just observe, measuring the situation. Mariah doesn't move, her shoes planted on the marble like they've taken root. She's been here before. The disbelief. The subtle tightening of power. She's not new to this game. Without a word, she reaches into her bag, pulls out her phone, and scrolls with muscle memory precision. The call is short, 20 seconds. "This is Mariah Brooks, Crestline Royale, Portland. I've just been refused entry to my own hotel. Please handle it. Her voice is calm, clipped. No anger, just sharp professionalism. She ends the call, slides the phone back into her tote, and stands still, arms at her sides. No pacing, no glaring. Just an unwavering stillness that tightens the air around her. Tim shifts his feet. His clipboard trembles slightly. We'll need to confirm that, he says, his eyes flicking to the security team. Emily squints, still skeptical, as a woman in a fur-lined jacket nearby discreetly lifts her phone, camera aimed just enough. Mariah senses the rising tension. She's been here before, and she knows exactly how to respond. The Crestline Royale lobby vibrates with silent pressure as Mariah stands near a smooth stone column, her figure lit by the soft glow of a modern chandelier. Emily taps harder at her keyboard now, as if pressing firmly might summon a different answer. No record for Brooks, she says aloud, loud enough for the couple at the bar to trade amused glances. Tim reappears from the office with a stack of documents in hand, his forehead glossy with stress. Ms. Brooks, we're just double-checking, for protocol, he says, his voice wobbling between politeness and suspicion. Mariah's gaze shifts briefly to the hotel logo engraved behind the counter, a brand she built from the ground up. Take your time, she replies, tone dry but composed. The guards linger nearby. One fiddles with his earpiece. The other scans the room, as if Mariah might suddenly flee the scene. But she remains still, a figure of composure, though inside an old sting rekindles. Not because of the delay, but because they instantly assumed she didn't belong in a place that bears her name. A teenage girl in a jean jacket snaps a photo from the lounge, whispering something to her friend. An older gentleman with a leather briefcase pretends to scroll through his tablet, but keeps sneaking glances. Behind the counter, Emily is tapping furiously on her phone, probably trying to fact-check what she still thinks is a bluff. Tim clears, his throat awkwardly, his fingers fumbling with his walkie-talkie. It's just standard procedure, he mumbles, but his eyes won't meet Mariah's. She nods once. That single gesture says more than their scrambling ever could. Time is ticking, and they haven't realized they're already behind. The elevator dings, a soft chime slicing through the strained hush of the Crestline Royal. Out step two men, walking with purpose. Daniel Reeves, 50, regional executive, in a charcoal suit without a wrinkle, and Carlos Medina, 42, district director, wearing a navy polo that's clearly been through a long day. Their expressions are tight. Daniel's jaw set like stone. Carlos gripping a tablet like it's a lifeline. Mariah sees them immediately. She doesn't shift her stance, but a flicker of awareness flashes in her eyes. The noise in the lobby fades again as guests sense something's changed. Ms. Brooks, Daniel says, his tone crisp, skipping over Tim entirely. This is completely unacceptable. We sincerely apologize. Carlos chimes in, slightly out of breath. Suite 814 is ready. Car's waiting out front. Breakfast confirmed. Your usual black coffee and toast with avocado. Tim tries to recover, stumbling forward with a mess of papers. I was just confirming. Daniel cuts him off with a glare sharp enough to silence a room. Emily's fake confidence vanishes. Her hands drop below the desk as she catches the panic in her supervisor's eyes. Mariah scans the room, her gaze even and steady. One call, she says, almost with a hint of a smile. Glad to see it still works. Daniel's already on the phone, barking orders about revised check-in procedures. Carlos mutters about reshuffling personnel, his eyes fixed on the tablet. The guards ease away from their posts, no longer needed. A woman in leggings by the fireplace whispers, "She runs the place," nudging her husband, who just stares, wide-eyed. Emily finally gets it. Her face goes pale. Mariah doesn't gloat. She simply watches, noting every flinch, every stumble. The dynamic has flipped. They're scrambling to adapt. She steps away from the counter as Daniel and Carlos take full control. Their voices low, but commanding. Tim shrinks behind them, his clipboard now just dead weight. Emily hovers, unsure if she should type or disappear. "Send alerts to all departments," Carlos says. "Mandatory staff training starts at 9 a.m. sharp." Daniel adds, "HR's already notified. Disciplinary reviews are active as of tonight." His voice leaves no room for negotiation. Mariah observes the ripples move through the space. The security guards drift toward the exit, heads down. A bellboy stiffens, offers a quick nod, then looks away. The couple at the bar lowers their voices. Stealing glances. Emily's pride has vanished. Her shoulders sag. She glances at Mariah like she's seeing something she can't process. Tim mutters something vague about a mix-up, but it falls flat. Mariah's face doesn't change, but inside she's filing it all away. The panic, the excuses, how everything shifts when the truth finally walks in. She walks toward the elevator, keycards in hand. "Have someone inspect the suite," she says over her shoulder, her tone composed but unwavering. Carlos gives a quick nod. "Right away." As the doors close behind her, the lobby exhales. Tension giving way to damage control. Mariah doesn't need to add another word. Her presence alone has redrawn the lines. Downstairs, the staff is scrambling. But up on the 14th floor, she's ready to reclaim what's rightfully hers. Mariah steps into Suite 814, the Crestline Royale's top-floor haven, quiet and wrapped in the scent of cedarwood. Everything is in perfect order. Towels folded like origami. A tray with warm avocado toast and dark coffee, still steaming. A note rests beside the tray, a quick apology from the kitchen staff, handwritten in a rush. She sets her tote down, kicks off her worn loafers, and sinks into a deep leather armchair beside the floor-to-ceiling windows. Portland's skyline glows beneath her. It's all hers. Every inch. But tonight, that triumph tastes dull. Her thoughts drift backward, to a cold day in Detroit 20 years ago. She was just 25, wearing a second-hand blazer, following behind a senior exec who never even learned her name. A hotel clerk. Once handed her a mop, assuming she was janitorial staff. She laughed it off back then, but the sting lingered. Now at 45, with 15 hotels under her name, she's still forced to prove she belongs. Even luxury doesn't heal that wound. The pain of being invisible in a space you helped build from nothing. She pulls out her phone. A message buzzes in from her assistant. Audit reports ready. Drafted press release standing by. Mariah pauses. She could take it public, make a statement. That would trend in minutes, but that's not her move. This isn't about going viral. It's about legacy, about why the Crestline Royale exists at all. She takes a sip of her coffee. It's bitter, and that suits her just fine. Tomorrow, she'll return. Not to punish, but to reset the system. The night stretches long, weighted with purpose. At 7 a.m., Mariah Brooks steps into the lobby again, her tailored charcoal suit sharp, her heels clicking like a ticking clock. The early crowd freezes, suitcases in hand, a toddler dropping a juice box. By the ficus near the concierge, Daniel and Carlos are waiting, holding files. Coffees untouched. They look exhausted. And likely are. "Morning," Mariah says coolly, guiding them into the glass-walled meeting room adjacent to reception. Inside, Tim fumbles with his tie. Emily stares at her folded hands. And HR rep Ellen Price sits with her laptop open, expression unreadable. Mariah stands at the head of the table, arms crossed. "Let's hear it," she says flatly. "What happened last night, from your point of view?" Silence expands between them. Heavy. Tim clears his throat. But nothing follows. Emily finally mutters, I didn't think. You didn't seem. She trails off, wilting under Mariah's gaze. Mariah finishes for her. "Didn't seem like the owner?" Her voice is measured, slow, intentional. Emily gives a small nod. "Was I loud? Rude? Did I threaten you?" Emily shakes her head quickly. 3 silent no's. Mariah turns to Ellen. "I'm not here for apologies, but this can't be brushed aside. Explain what's being done." Carlos steps in, voice tight. "Emily's been pulled from the front desk. She's received a formal warning. Tim's under review. Mandatory training begins today." Mariah nods slowly, then sits down, locking eyes with Tim. "How long? Have you worked here?" 2 years, he says quietly. "And you never learned my name?" He winces. Mariah turns to Emily. "You?" 6 months, she whispers. "Ever ask yourself who created this place?" Emily shakes her head again. Mariah leans back in her chair. 15 hotels, coast to coast. I started this company because I was tired of being overlooked. Last night, you erased me in a building I built from nothing. Why? Tim stares at the tabletop. Emily's eyes fill with tears. I just assumed. Her voice trembles. Mariah doesn't soften. Assumptions aren't harmless. They come with a cost. You're not losing your jobs, but you're owning this. Daniel clears his throat. We're initiating inclusion training. Every hotel. No exceptions. Mariah cuts in. Make it count. I don't want scripted checklists. I want people who understand what respect looks like, even when the guest isn't someone like me. She stands. The room holds still. This isn't punishment. It's a reset. Learn what respect really means. Or this place will leave you behind, Ellen types quickly. Carlos nods in agreement. Mariah is already walking out the door, leaving them to wrestle with everything she left unsaid. The lobby watches her pass, a silent force reshaping everything in her wake. Behind the cafe bar, the staff lounge is dim and cramped, filled with the scent of burnt toast and stale air. 9 a.m., Mariah Brooks finds Emily Rhodes there, sitting alone at a metal table with a half-drunk latte. She jolts upright as Mariah pulls out a chair. Her eyes are red. Relax, Mariah says, her voice softer now. This isn't round 2. Emily nods, gripping her cup like it's the only thing keeping her upright. Ever felt invisible at work? Mariah asks, leaning back. Emily blinks, then nods. I used to work a gas station diner off Route 8. Cooks yelled. Drivers ignored me. I felt like I didn't exist. Mariah nods. Then you know the feeling. Why pass that feeling on to me last night? Emily opens her mouth, then closes it. I thought you were just another guest. You didn't look like... She stops. Mariah's tone stays level. Didn't look like what? Say it. Emily lowers her eyes, fingers twisting. No answer. That's the trap, Mariah says. You've got this picture in your head. Expensive. Suit, loud voice, white face. And when I didn't match it, you decided I didn't belong. Emily's voice cracks. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Mariah gently interrupts. I don't need sorry. I need to be seen. She leans in. I started as a desk clerk, on night shifts in Philly. Guests called me, "Hey you." Manager said I was too intense for the job. I fought my way through that. I built this chain so people like us could. Emily gives a faint nod. Was I aggressive? Rude? Did I ever raise my voice? She quickly shakes her head. 3 firm no's. Mariah turns to Ellen. I'm not here for opinions, but this doesn't get a free pass. Explain the action plan. Carlos steps in, voice tight. Emily's been removed from front desk duty. She's received an official write-up. Tim's under performance review. Retraining is in effect, starting today. Mariah nods slowly, then turns her gaze to Tim and sits. How long have you been with us? 2 years, he replies, barely audible. And in all that time, you didn't learn who I am? He flinches. She looks at Emily. You? 6 months, she whispers. Did you ever ask yourself who built this place? Emily shakes her head again. Mariah leans back in her chair. I run 15 hotels across the country. I launched this brand because I was tired of being ignored. Last night, you made me disappear in my own building. Why? Tim stares at the table. Emily's eyes are filled with tears. I just assumed, she says, her voice cracking. Mariah stays firm. Assumptions aren't neutral. They have consequences. You're not being dismissed, but you are being held accountable. Daniel adds, we're launching new inclusivity sessions. Every location, no exceptions. Mariah cuts in. Make it authentic. I don't want staff reciting diversity policies like robots. I want people who understand what respect looks like when it's not obvious. When the guest isn't me. She stands. The entire room goes still. This isn't punishment. It's a reset. Learn what respect is, or this place will leave you behind. Ellen types quickly. Carlos nods in agreement. Mariah is halfway out, the door before they can respond, leaving them to sit with the weight of everything she just said. The lobby watches her exit, a silent current of change in motion. Behind the espresso bar, the employee lounge is a cramped space that smells like burned bread and stale coffee. At 9 a.m., Mariah Brooks finds Emily Rhodes there, alone at a metal table, a cold latte between her hands. She jolts as Mariah takes the seat across from her, eyes rimmed red. Relax, Mariah says, her voice gentler now. This isn't round 2. Emily nods, clutching her drink like a shield. You ever feel invisible at a job? Mariah asks, leaning into the chair. Emily blinks, then shrugs. Yeah. Worked a diner off Route 8. The cook screamed. Drivers ignored me. I felt like wallpaper most days. Mariah nods, her eyes steady. So you felt it. Then why did you turn that on me last night? Emily opens her mouth, then closes it. I thought, you were just another guest. You didn't look like... She winces, trailing off. Mariah stays calm. What does the owner of a hotel look like to you? Emily doesn't answer. Her hands twist in her lap. That's the trap, Mariah says quietly. You've got this picture in your head. Polished suit, loud voice, white face. I didn't match it. So you erased me. Just like that. Emily's voice cracks again. I'm sorry, I didn't mean... Mariah interrupts gently. I don't need an apology. I need you to see me. She leans in closer. I started at the front desk. Graveyard. Shifts in Philly. Guests called me, "Hey you." A manager once told me I was too intense for hospitality. I climbed my way up. I built this chain so people like us could rise.